Live across Queensland, this is 7 News with Samantha Heathwood.
Good afternoon. Our top stories on 7. E-bike tragedy. 2 teens killed in a head-on crash with a motorbike. Bundaberg cleans up. The Mud Army gets to work as the search continues for a missing man. An American Air Force jet crashes in the Middle East and Iran's new supreme leader issues a defiant first statement. And COVID compensation. Qantas settles a lawsuit over cancelled flights. 2 teenage e-bike riders have been killed in a head-on collision with a motorcycle in Logan. As Michael Hammond reports, police are investigating who, if anyone, was at fault.
Good afternoon. The Forensic Crash Unit is working to piece together the moments these 2 teenagers were killed here at Greenbank. Just after 9 last night, a Harley-Davidson motorcycle overtook a car along Middle Road. That's when it's ploughed into an e-bike travelling in the opposite direction without its headlights on. A 15-year-old girl and a 16-year-old boy were thrown from the e-bike. Both died at the scene. The rider of the motorcycle was taken to the PA hospital with serious injuries. Nearby residents heard the impact.
It's just an almighty thud and then, the screaming.
It's just a tragedy. It's wrecked a few families. I feel for the poor bugger that's hit them, and I feel for the parents of both the young people that were killed.
Queensland is currently considering tougher rules for e-bikes, with age restrictions and licensing now on the table as safety concerns grow. South Australia and Western Australia already ban under-16s from riding the devices. A licensing scheme would be an Australian first. Authorities say too many riders are ignoring the rules or modifying bikes to go faster.
We'll act swiftly to ensure that we address the shortfalls that exist in the legislation as it stands right now.
Experts say these latest deaths are a stark reminder as to why a crackdown is so desperately needed.
A search is continuing near Bundaberg this afternoon for a man fallen overboard from a houseboat near the mouth of the swollen Burnett River. As Mel Whiteman reports, the big clean-up is underway as residents return to their flooded homes and businesses.
Here in Bundaberg, there's a mix of raw emotions and frustration as people survey the aftermath and begin the clean-up. The costs are rising as the floodwaters recede. The Mud Army has moved in to help hundreds of businesses and homeowners who have lost so many of their belongings. The damage to 14 homes is so severe residents can't return. Among those needing to be rescued at the height of the flood emergency, a dog and his owner plucked to safety by a swiftwater rescue crew. At Burnett Heads, a major search is continuing for a man who fell from a houseboat near the river mouth overnight. Water police, marine rescue, drones and a helicopter are scanning the river, the banks and the coast.
We have grave fears for this person's life. We are searching feverishly to try and locate him.
In Chinchilla, major flooding is starting to ease, but in Longreach, the community is bracing for a wall of floodwaters on the way.
We've got boots on the ground there, door knocking and sandbagging.
Tourism operators in Bundaberg have reported losing an estimated $250,000 in income so far. The clean-up could take months, but the spirit on display from groups like the volunteer firefighters will help get the community through another tough time.
Well, the southeast has been hammered with storms this afternoon. Laura Dymock, which areas were hit hardest?
Well, Sam, where I am on the Gold Coast, we've got some showers and the sky is still very, very grey, but there were much heavier falls north of here through Logan, Ipswich and Brisbane. The rain pelted down in short, sharp bursts before hurrying away. A strong southeasterly wind change is what caused it. It swept through around lunch with showers and storms riding that wave. Greenbank picked up 76 millimetres in an hour. That is just short of the intense rainfall threshold. A severe weather warning for heavy rain has been issued for Moreton Bay and the Sunshine Coast, so that is where it's heading next. Now, that cool change dropped the temperature by 6 degrees when it swept through the city. There is a strong wind warning for tomorrow from the Gold Coast all the way to Townsville. And powerful surf on our beaches is leading to potentially dangerous conditions for swimming. Some Gold Coast beaches were closed for periods today due to those big waves. No complaints from surfers though. Sam, I'll be back a little later with your weekend weather.
Thank you, Laura. Well, turning to the war in the Middle East, and 2 US Air Force jets have collided mid-air over Iraq. Live to reporter Jacqueline Robson in Tel Aviv. Jackie, what do we know about the fate of those on board?
Well, Sam, we know very little, but there are fears that there could be casualties to come from this crash. The US Central Command put out an initial statement acknowledging the event, saying this has not happened under hostile fire, but rather in friendly airspace. It was an American refuelling jet that crashed in western Iraq. It was travelling with another aircraft, also believed to be a refuelling jet. It was able to land safely back at base here in Israel. A search and rescue is now underway to find that downed aircraft and establish whether or not there are any survivors. It's believed there were at least 5 crew members on board. This comes as a French soldier was killed in a drone attack also in Iraq. It's the first casualty of that country in this war, Sam.
Jackie, it doesn't look as though Iran is about to bow to demands to stop targeting shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
No, Sam, this was the focus of the new Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei's first address, the Strait of Hormuz. It's his first time issuing any kind of statement. It was read out on Iranian state TV. We didn't hear from him nor see him, fueling into speculation he may be badly injured in the earlier strikes in this war. But he did say that Iran will remain in the Strait of Hormuz and have that death grip, stopping any kind of vessels moving through that crucial shipping passage. He also used his first address to vow revenge for the death of his late father, the former Supreme Leader, and his own wife. He says that the attacks on the Gulf nations will continue so long as they have US bases there. Also, on the other front of this war in Beirut, Israel is ramping up its attacks on the Hezbollah militia. There is now reports that we may see a ground invasion coming up through the southern part of Lebanon. Sam?
Jacqueline Robson in Tel Aviv, thank you. The Consumer Watchdog has issued a please explain to fuel companies about petrol and diesel prices since the start of the Iran war. As Josh Martin reports from Canberra, retail price rises have outstripped increases in wholesale prices by some margin.
Good afternoon. Price increases at the petrol pump have increased by up to 18 cents per litre more than wholesale prices in some locations around Australia. On 20 February, the daily average retail petrol price in the country was $1.70 per litre. It's since shot up to $2.19 per litre on 11 March. That's an increase of 49 cents per litre. At the same time, wholesale prices went up by just 41 cents per litre. Motorists in Perth are now paying the most per litre, $2.22 on average. Hobart the cheapest at $2.15 a litre. Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne are all at similar levels. The ACCC says it will meet with petrol companies next week to demand answers, including 7-Eleven, Ampol, BP, Chevron, Mobil, United, Viva and EG Australia. The Energy Minister has also called out Australians selling jerry cans online and filling up with more than their regular needs.
Bunnings running out of jerry cans, going off Facebook Marketplace, selling fuel at inflated prices. That is un-Australian. It's dangerous. It shouldn't be done. I want Australians to have access to the fuel they need, not more, not less.
Until yesterday, it was all tickety-boo, no problems. By yesterday, it was a national crisis. I mean, the bloke's, he's hopeless. Get the supplies to the farmers and regional customers.
Chris Bowen is relaxing rules for fuel companies to allow them to get more diesel and petrol to regional areas. The Albanese government is lowering the amount importers and refiners of fuel need to hold by 20%. It means there'll be an extra gradual release of an extra 762 million litres of fuel. And in a fresh concern for Australian airlines, there are reports this afternoon China is stopping exports of jet fuel.
No jackpot for a man arrested while playing the pokies at a Townsville pub in the early hours of Monday morning. They were carrying out a wanding operation and discovered the 40-year-old in possession of a knife.
Everything in this yours? Anything you want to tell me about? Nothing sharp? He's going. Stop, don't move!
The Palm Island man is due to face court later this month on a range of weapons and drugs charges. If you had a Qantas flight cancelled during the COVID epidemic, you may be in line for some compensation. As aviation editor Blake Johnson reports, the airline has settled a class action lawsuit involving the way it handled flight credits and refunds.
If your Qantas flight was cancelled during COVID, you are automatically included in the class action and will be compensated for the airline's restrictive handling of refunds and credits. The 2.5-year class action has just wrapped up, Qantas agreeing to pay $105 million to customers.
This is compensation through the class action, which is in addition to the refunds that people either have now received or are entitled to get from Qantas.
It was argued Qantas should never have issued credits for flights cancelled in COVID. Instead, we should have been refunded for flights between January 2020 and November 2022.
Exact amounts people will get will depend on the registration process, because the more people that come forward, the more people share in the $105 million.
Qantas had put aside $55 million for this, but the final amount was almost double.
But in terms of how big an impact this is for Qantas, it certainly hasn't dented their profits too poorly.
The share price today pretty stable. Investors were aware of the impending hit. The airline eventually got rid of expiry dates on COVID credits, something Virgin hasn't done. About $90 million of COVID credits with that airline expires June 30.
Coming up in 7 News, on the wrong side of the law, a police constable crashes his car 4 times over the limit. A man killed after ramming his car into a crowded California synagogue. And close call, an assassin fires from point-blank range and misses completely.
Tonight, the plan to keep petrol pumps from running dry, plus what fuel woes mean for Easter seafood prices. Emotional tributes for a Logan school teacher and baby found dead. Qantas forced to fork out over its COVID credits scandal. And a major class action over JB Hi-Fi's extended warranties. 7 News at 6.
Tomorrow on Weekend Sunrise, is AI about to steal your job? Who's safe and who's not, as companies cut thousands? Plus, Australia's own Queen gets a royal welcome, where you can see Queen Mary and King Frederick on their historic tour. And Josh Pike joins us for a Brekkie TV exclusive performance, tomorrow from 7 a.m.
A New South Wales police officer has been charged with high-range drink driving after a crash in the state's west. The off-duty senior constable returned a blood alcohol reading of 0.232 after hitting a car in Dubbo. That's 4 times the legal limit. He's had his licence suspended and his employment is now under review. The 31-year-old will face court next month. Investigators in the US are looking at a possible terror attack after a car was rammed into one of the country's biggest synagogues. A driver is believed to have been armed with a rifle. As Miley Hogan reports, the building was filled with children at the time.
Police say the driver rammed through the doors of the synagogue and was then speeding down a hallway. Armed guards that were already on scene managed to open fire on the suspect, who was later found dead inside the vehicle. The cause of death is not known because at some point the car erupted into flames, sparking a large fire that spread through the building. Investigators have brought in the bomb squad to determine if explosives were in the vehicle. All of the 140 children inside the school and the daycare were evacuated and are safe. The staff too. One security guard was taken to hospital but is expected to be okay. Authorities are treating this as a targeted attack but say it's too early to determine a motive.
We are leading the investigation right now as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. I would not be able to provide additional information at this time on the subject or his motive.
The Temple of Israel is located outside of Detroit, Michigan. The local sheriff saying since the war with Iran began, they've been coordinating with law enforcement at all levels.
We've been talking for 2 weeks about the potential, sadly, of this happening, so there was no lack of preparation.
The president commenting on the investigation.
It's a terrible thing, but it goes on. We're going to be right down to the bottom of it. It's absolutely incredible that things like this happen.
Security has been ramped up at all Jewish facilities in the area as police continue to hunt for a motive.
Meantime, a gunman with ISIS sympathies has opened fire in the classroom of a US college, killing one person and wounding 2 others. Police say the 36-year-old specifically targeted Army cadets at Old Dominion University in Virginia and yelled Allah Akbar before shooting. He was subdued by a group of students but later died. The gunman was a former member of the National Guard. A close call for a group of former and current politicians in India after a would-be assassin walked up behind them and opened fire. Incredibly, the gunman completely missed before being wrestled to the ground by security. They'd been attending a wedding in Indian-administered Kashmir. The shooter was licensed to own the firearm. Just ahead, can you offer a greyhound a home for the holidays? Foster families needed to host a hound this Easter. And in sport, the Broncos' costly loss to the Eels.
From petrol to power, with fuel prices surging and war in the Middle East escalating, ditching the Bowser for the battery.
50% uplift over the past 2 weeks.
7 News investigates which models are worth it, which ones aren't, and the real money you could save. On 7 News at 6.
An appeal is going out for people to host a greyhound for the Easter holidays. It comes just ahead of National Greyhound Adoption Month and follows the success of a similar campaign at Christmas. Joining me is Lisa Kohler from the Greyhound Adoption Program. Lisa, are these ex-track dogs, and how much of a need is there for greyhound foster families?
Hi, Sam. Yes, we do have a need for foster families for our program. We love welcoming foster families to the Gap. They help the greyhounds transition from the track to their second chapter as family pets.
Oh, that sounds really lovely, doesn't it? So if I do want to foster a dog, what's involved?
Okay, so head to our website, gapqld.com.au. We have lots of information on our website. Foster carers are provided with supplies that will help welcome your visitor into your home for the month of April. It includes food, bedding, collar, lead, any vet care that may be required throughout the fostering period. Just head on in to the website and fill out an application form, and our foster officer will be in touch with you shortly.
Amazing. So how many of these holiday foster dogs end up finding forever homes, and what happens to those that don't?
Yeah, we would love for all of our foster dogs to find homes, but if they don't, that's okay. They come back to our Gap kennels and we continue to find homes for them. So all their profiles are available on our Gap website, so you can pop on there and have a look and see if there's a dog that matches you.
Some people might be a little bit reluctant, thinking that they might be vicious animals, especially being from the track. Is that the case? What are greyhounds like?
Oh, they're far from vicious. No, they're very loving. Velcro dogs we call them. So they make great pets. Every one of them has a different quirky personality. They love to go on their daily walks and they love to be groomed. And of course, they're really great Netflix catch-up buddies for your couch.
They sound really lovely. Lisa Kohler from the Greyhound Adoption Program. Thank you so much for your time and good luck finding their homes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Let's have a quick look at today's Sport Now with Rohan.
Thank you, Sam. Hello, everyone. Broncos coach Michael Maguire has put his entire squad on notice after the Eels stormed home to win 40-32 at Suncorp Stadium. Jonah Pezzett tore his future club apart with 4 try assists, plus one for himself in a high-scoring affair. Captain Adam Reynolds is at long odds to play next week's grand final rematch against the Storm due to a rib injury.
We're up 20 points, and for whatever reason, we softened and teams find you. It's an 80-minute game.
Brisbane have conceded 66 points in the first 2 rounds, the most ever by a defending premier. Chris Fagan says the Lions need to showcase a little innovation and a lot of determination to overcome the major disruptions to their side to face the Swans tomorrow night in Sydney. Brisbane headed south with 17 players unavailable and 5 changes to their top side through suspension and injury.
Yeah, 5 changes, that's a few. 3 of them all Australians. We're probably facing adversity reasonably early in the season, but the thing about it is that we've been a club, particularly over the last couple of years, that's been able to cope with that really well.
Fagan insists there's no cause for concern with their playing style despite 3 suspensions from their opening match. Mercedes' George Russell is proving why he's the hot favourite to take out his first Formula One title this year. After winning in Melbourne, the Brit was fastest in first practice in China, ahead of teammate Kimi Antonelli. Drivers are still getting used to the new cars.
I mean, if it is giving them... Oh! Too much speed for Charles Leclerc as he heads off into the gravel.
Aussie Oscar Piastri was fourth fastest behind McLaren teammate Lando Norris. And Sam, we'll have more of those stories coming up in the bulletin at 6.
Thank you, Rohan. Well, after the break in the afternoon news, a community in shock at the suspicious death of a local primary school teacher. The Queensland fishing fleet worried about fuel supplies in the lead up to Easter. Later, after the weather, Princess Kate pours a pint and shares a cancer confidence.
Live across Queensland, this is 7 News with Samantha Heathwood.
Recapping our top stories this afternoon, and 2 teens have been killed after colliding head-on with a motorbike at Greenbank last night. Police say the motorbike rider had been overtaking and the e-bike didn't have a light. Qantas has agreed to settle a class action lawsuit over its flight refunds for cancelled flights during COVID. The airline will pay out $105 million but won't make an admission of liability. And police in California are looking at whether an attack on one of the country's biggest synagogues was an act of terror. The driver who rammed his car into the building was killed. A vigil will be held in Logan tonight to pay tribute to a primary school teacher and her 1-year-old daughter found dead in their Logan home yesterday morning. Reporter Jade Richards is there. Jade, neighbours have been laying flowers.
They have, Sam. There are some bouquets outside the family home this afternoon, which remains a crime scene. This is where the community was planning to meet for a vigil in about an hour's time, but it's now been moved to a park around the corner because forensic officers still have so much crucial work to do here. 38-year-old Kate Patterson and her baby girl April were found inside the home dead with stab wounds yesterday morning. The only reason that police made the discovery was because they were coming to tell Kate that her partner Blake Sears had been hit by a car down on the main road. Police now believe that he had run from the house to the main road, and he remains in the Princess Alexandra Hospital under police guard this afternoon. Kate was a teacher at Windaroo State School, and this morning we saw parents and students leaving flowers at the front gate to pay tribute. Some family friends of hers have also set up a GoFundMe page to raise funds for their funerals, and they've shared some details saying that Kate and Blake were engaged, soon to be married, and they would soon be celebrating April's first birthday. Some neighbours on this street have also provided us with CCTV video. It's quite haunting. It shows the family's potentially final moments together on a peaceful walk through the street the night before this all unfolded.
When I found out the age of the victims, I was hoping it was not them because I didn't know them personally, but I used to see them walk past. Happy family, always happy, always smiling.
So just to reiterate for those who are wanting to attend the vigil this afternoon, it's no longer here where the crime scene and the family home is. It has been moved to a park around the corner, and that is on Skyline and Sunridge circuits. Anyone who can is being encouraged to bring candles or flowers to help pay tribute. Sam?
Jade Richards, thank you. And if you or someone you know needs to talk, Lifeline is there 24/7. Their number is 13 11 14. Near Bundaberg, the search is continuing for a man who fell overboard from a houseboat last night at the mouth of the Burnett River. Police and SES crews using drones and a helicopter have spent the day scouring the riverbanks and surrounding waters. Meantime, the big clean-up is gathering pace in the town as a 200-strong mud army gets to work. At this stage, 14 homes have been so severely damaged, residents are unable to return. Meantime, Longreach in the state's central west is being advised to prepare for the arrival of major flooding from tomorrow. Returning to the war in the Middle East, where Iran's new supreme leader has issued his first statement, although he's still not been seen, while the US is investigating what caused the crash of an Air Force jet over Iraq.
U.S. Central Command is saying the KC-135 refueling aircraft went down in friendly airspace in western Iraq, that it was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire, and rescue efforts are ongoing. All as Iran is unleashing new attacks on oil tankers. This fuel-laden ship bursting into a fireball. Part of Iran's strategy to drive up oil prices by stopping tankers from passing through the Strait of Hormuz.
They've got no Navy, they've got no Air Force, they've got no anti-air traffic, anything. They have no systems of control. We're just riding free range over that country. And now we're going to look very strongly at the Straits. The Straits are in great shape. We've knocked out all of their boats.
On Iranian state media, a presenter reading what she said was the first message from Iran's new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, who said the lever of closing the Strait of Hormuz must still be used. But neither his image nor his voice were broadcast. And Iran isn't only lashing out at sea. New video showing a high-rise in Dubai hit by an Iranian drone. And fires raging after an Iranian strike on a fuel depot in Bahrain. It's all leaving Iran increasingly isolated. 135 nations voted at the UN to condemn Iran for its attacks on Gulf countries and Jordan. But Iran does have one ally that has joined it in open war, the Lebanese militia Hezbollah, firing more than 100 rockets at Israel. Israel is bombing Beirut, and Israeli troops have crossed into Lebanon to battle Hezbollah. Nearly 700 people have been killed so far, according to the Lebanese government, with more than 800,000 displaced.
And while 6 members of the Iranian women's soccer squad settle into their new Australian home, the country's sports minister has flagged its men's team is unlikely to take part in the upcoming World Cup. They're scheduled to play all 3 of their group matches in the US. Donald Trump has gone on social media to say they're welcome, but he really doesn't believe it's appropriate that they attend for their own life and safety. Iran hasn't officially withdrawn, but if it does, it could be fined by FIFA and barred from other tournaments. Closer to home, in Queensland's commercial fishers are becoming increasingly anxious about fuel supplies after reports some ports are running low. It could mean we end up paying more for our Easter seafood. Declan Milton reports.
Good afternoon. Well, the question on every commercial fisher's mind right now, to fill or not to fill. It comes amid growing concern about fuel supplies. In Mooloolaba, diesel is being rationed after it ran dry in recent days. It's meant many boats have been unable to go to sea, with only a few venturing out on very limited supply. Parvo Walker runs 5 vessels catching tuna and swordfish. He has 50 employees and their jobs are now uncertain.
We're talking about 1 truck maybe arriving in the next couple of days, and we're all getting a small allocation, which unfortunately you can't go to sea with a tenth of your fuel tank full.
On the Gold Coast, commercial fishers say it's only a matter of time before they're next. Right now they have access to diesel, but it's coming in at exorbitant prices. Some are seriously thinking about keeping their boat stocked for the foreseeable future.
It's out of control. I'm having to really think about if it's worth going to work or not.
Definitely a bloody worry, there's no question about that.
The federal government may be releasing 20% of its national fuel reserve, but industry experts say it will be weeks before it makes any difference, perhaps not until after Easter. Now, what that means for seafood price and supply is really anyone's guess, but some are warning that prices could double by next month.
A teenager is dead and 3 people are injured after an attempted carjacking went horribly wrong in Melbourne. Geordie Wright reports.
It's taken major collision detectives more than 12 hours to process the scene of this fatal collision here in Hoppers Crossing. Investigators have now confirmed it was a 15-year-old boy who had died during the collision after he was thrown from the Skoda. It occurred on Derrimut Road just before midnight. Police say the stolen Skoda was travelling at 180 k's an hour and had up to 7 teenagers inside when the driver lost control. Just prior to the crash, it's alleged the group attempted to carjack another vehicle and were chasing it down the road. That's when the Skoda crashed into 2 other vehicles. A Ford Falcon was spun off the road and a Ford Ranger also struck. Those drivers incredibly walking away with only minor injuries.
This is a shocking circumstance that could have resulted in multiple fatalities. All occupants of this vehicle that we now know aged between 14 years of age and 16 years of age.
2 16-year-old girls were taken to hospital, but witnesses say 4 teenagers ran from the car.
Pretty gutless, to be honest. You know, there's people that are injured, people that are potentially deceased.
A teenage boy was tracked down by the dog squad and arrested at Pacific Werribee. A 14-year-old who allegedly fled self-presented at hospital after the fatal crash. All are currently being questioned. Family of the 15-year-old boy have come down to the scene today. They are devastated and still can't quite comprehend how this tragedy happened.
A shock for fans of reality show Married at First Sight. With the news relationship expert Mel Schilling's cancer has spread. She's revealed her colon cancer has now spread to her brain. The psychologist said this morning, "My light is starting to fade, but I'm still here fighting and surrounded by the most incredible love." Her message to fans was, if something doesn't feel right, get it checked out. It might save your life. So to come, our regular Friday look at the local real estate market, including some riverfront luxury at Yeronga. And a popular Byron Bay music festival pulls the pin 3 weeks before its first day.
From petrol to power, with fuel prices surging and war in the Middle East escalating, ditching the Bowser for the battery.
50% uplift over the past 2 weeks.
7 News investigates which models are worth it, which ones aren't, and the real money you could save. On 7 News at 6.
Now to our regular Friday look at the local real estate market, and Antonio Mercarella can't be with us, so it's welcome again to Hazley Cush from Ray White Collective. Hazley, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now you're obviously at the sharp end and you're seeing a very big increase in first home buyer activity. What's driving it and what's it doing to prices?
Yeah, the government changed the home guarantee scheme on the 1st of October. We saw this sharp uplift to $1 million, and it's been electric. So we've seen prices really rise from $750 to $1 million, and that market's been explosive.
Oh, I guess that's right. Trying to find something for
yeah.
$750 is almost impossible. So you've brought along a few properties, and firstly, a unit that could use a little bit of work.
Have a look at this. This is fabulous. This is on the banks of the Brisbane River. It's in Toowong. It needs a lot of work. So you can see it here, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but you really do need to bring a tradesperson, be a tradesperson, or just be handy. But this sits on 6,000 square metres in Toowong, 50 apartments. And when you look at the value that sits in the market, especially based on those recent comments, this is really a value buy. This is going to be one of the early lots tomorrow at the auctions. It's a great property.
Oh, fantastic. Now, a family home in Seven Hills.
Yeah, this is actually a great property. It's a property of 2 stories. It suits the empty nester, the person that's not ready to go into the unit just yet. It's got 4 bedrooms. It's got dual living on both levels. It's a smaller block of land, which means maintenance is low, and it's got the pool. So it either suits the downsizer or that buyer that is moving from the unit into a house, but because of budget restraints, can't get into the bigger block. So it's an early 300s, about a 330 square metre block of land, but it's contemporary in a great part of Brisbane and Seven Hills, a really great property.
That looks really fantastic.
It is fun, yeah.
And finally, some riverfront luxury at Yeronga.
Yeah, this is on the Brisbane Corso. This is great. This is 24 metres of riverfront on the Brisbane Corso in Yeronga. Look at this property. It's magnificent. My boy Louis said that'd be great for cricket. It's European themed. It's got all of the wonderful things that you would expect in the high-end market. It's got cinema. It's got expansive living areas. Look at this al fresco living pavilions on both sides of the property.
Stop.
The 4 bedrooms upstairs are all en-suite with walk-in robes, but the main room has 2 walk-in robes. It's the whole width of the property, the pontoon down onto the Brisbane River, and the Brisbane Corso, well known for luxury real estate, and every square inch. Look at that, a marble fireplace and the James Bond inspired cinema. It really is the best Brisbane has to offer.
Well, you've done it again. You made me add another thing to my dream list. But Hazley Cush, thank you so much.
For having
so lovely
me.
to have you. Well, this year's Blues Fest at Byron Bay has been cancelled just 3 weeks out from the festival. Organisers have posted online saying they're deeply sorry. Last year's was to have been the last until it was thrown a $500,000 government lifeline. However, disappointing ticket sales and rising costs have made it unviable. A liquidator has been appointed. To Finance news, and it's been a quiet end to what's been another volatile week on the local share market. Here's James Taub from IG Bank with more.
Good afternoon. The local share market wrapped up a turbulent week on a relatively steady note, with the ASX 200 finishing little changed for the day, down just 12 points or a little over 0.1%. But looking through the week, the market still lost more than 2.5% and is now down a little over 6% since the start of the Middle East conflict around 2 weeks ago. The technology and financial sectors were the key source of support today, led by gains from the big four banks, and this helped offset weaker moves across a number of mining and healthcare stocks. One of the most notable laggards today was Northern Star, which slid 18% after the gold miner flagged that it's unlikely to meet its own full-year production target set just a few months ago in January. And after touching its highest level since June of 2022 earlier this week, the Australian dollar has eased back, now buying around 70.6 US cents.
A bitter dispute could be brewing between neighbours on the Gold Coast after one has been caught repeatedly stealing lemons from her neighbour's yard. Under the law, if fruit overhangs the fence onto council land, it's fair game. But when it's on private property, that's stealing. Police say the lemon thief could face charges if there's a formal complaint. There'll be some nocturnal newcomers on show at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary these Easter holidays. A litter of greater bilby-joeys are making the den at the sanctuary their new home. The bilbies are one of Australia's most threatened native species. Just ahead, William and Kate try their hand behind the bar. Are the Royals any good at pouring a pint? And it's been a wet day. This is a look at Brisbane right now. It's currently 24 degrees. Laura has the forecast next.
Tonight, the plan to keep petrol pumps from running dry, plus what fuel woes mean for Easter seafood prices. Emotional tributes for a Logan school teacher and baby found dead. Qantas forced to fork out over its COVID credit scandal. And a major class action over JB Hi-Fi's extended warranties. 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon. You're watching 7 News. Your weather is coming to you live from the Gold Coast this afternoon. Let's start on the radar after those storms swept through the southeast this afternoon. A couple of spots picked up more than 50 millimetres. Greenbank still has the highest total with 76 millimetres. Warnings for heavy rainfall now cover the Sunshine Coast up to the Wide Bay. Onto the satellite picture, a trough sits over the far north, but falls are starting to slowly ease back in intensity from tomorrow. A southeasterly wind change generated the instability which led to this afternoon's storm activity, and that moves north into the Wide Bay this evening to Mackay tomorrow and reaching Townsville on Sunday. Cooler maximums are what stands out if we take a look around the country. Hobart, the coolest capital, tomorrow on 23 degrees. Perth, partly cloudy and a top of 30. Steady, moderate falls across the north tomorrow, mostly along the coast, north of Ingham. Rain will continue to contract to the coast over coming days. A shower is possible as that cool change sweeps up the coast during tomorrow. It will also bring those maximum temperatures down, mostly under 30 degrees. For the southeast, some isolated showers with plenty of gaps in between. In fact, more gaps than showers. Those falls will be a bit more consistent around the Sunshine Coast early in the day. And just remember, there is a strong wind warning from the Gold Coast all the way to Townsville, and powerful surf if you're planning to be on or near the water. Coming up in the news at 6, we are live and local at your club. So where will we be? All will be revealed. Hope to see you then. It's back to you, Sam.
Thank you, Laura. Well, Princess Kate says she's shying away from alcohol since her cancer diagnosis and chemotherapy. The revelation came as she and Prince William visited a London pub to pull a few pints. Ben Downey reports.
Well, for everybody who's been to the UK, you know you can literally throw a rock and hit a pub named after something royal. The King's Arms, the Queen's Head, the Prince of this, the Royal that. But for all of that royal nomenclature, this is one of those very rare occasions where we actually have working members of the royal family behind the bar. The Prince and Princess of Wales today getting stuck into the brewing business at London's famous borough markets, with William loading hops into the mixture and Kate climbing the ladder, donning gloves and using a large wooden stick to stir the boil before performing that rite of passage so many Australian 20-somethings have on their working holiday pulling a pint. After their efforts, the founder offered them some weekend shifts, judging the royal couple's pouring better than his own. Kate politely declined the work and a sip of their brew, revealing she's actually cutting back on alcohol since her cancer diagnosis. Finally, the princess was given a crash course in creating the perfect cappuccino from a barista. But when she told Prince William she'd made him a coffee, well, he knocked it back because it wasn't decaf. The barista clearly forgetting to tell Princess Kate the golden rule: always remember your partner's coffee order.
Well, that's Queensland's afternoon news for this Friday. Stay with us now for The Chase, then 7 News at 6. I'm Samantha Heathwood. I'll see you tomorrow.